Hi, welcome to My Product Developer, where we take napkin sketches and turn them into marketable products. We wanted to take you into a rapid prototyping session so that you could see exactly what goes on inside of it. And if you have any questions, reach out to us. Comment below. We want to know more about what you think. Do you have an idea that you want to take into a rapid prototyping session? Just let us know. We're going to join this session already in progress. Enjoy.
Hey Joel, how's it going?
It's going good. Going good.
Yeah,
I'm excited about
uh,
this.
awesome, me too. Since the last time we spoke, is there any new ideas or anything that you want to bring up before we jump into it?
No, I just want to make sure that the hook is able to hold like ladders and like all of the stuff that I need. And I just need, and that, I know I said this before as well, but I just need to make sure that it's really sturdy.
Okay. And do you know the estimated weight of these ladders?
I don't know, maybe what's the weight of a ladder? I don't know.
Do you know what type of ladder you want to build?
So I've got two ladders. One's an extension ladder, that I could
Okay.
get on my roof with, and the other one's an A-frame ladder, and I don't even remember what that step ladder.
Okay. Yeah, A-frame ladder, step ladder. Yeah. Do you know the so do you want to design this for your ladder or for ladders in general?
Um, So if we do it for my ladder, what would make the difference on that? Like if it's for my ladder, wouldn't it be for all ladders?
Well, if you're only worried about doing this for your ladder, then we'll just look up your ladder and make sure we meet the requirements for your ladder. If we're looking at ladders in general, we'll spend a little bit more time doing research and see what the overall dimensions like ranges from and make sure that we meet that.
I would do ladders in general then. Um, because even though I want it to work for my ladder, if it's really good, I want to be able to give it to people to be able to use
Okay.
in theirs.
Last time we spoke, you said that you wanted something more general for just the yard equipment, like a leaf
Yes.
blower and weed eater. Is
Yeah,
that still something you're
it
interested in?
yeah, it's not just ladders. But I want to be able to I want to be able to hang up my all my yard equipment, leaf blowers, um my mind is blanking on my yard equipment, but like,
Yeah,
because I just bought a house and I'm trying to, I need to make it organized.
that's awesome. Yeah, so what I'm noticing is that there's quite a bit different requirements between a ladder and what you need for a ladder and a leaf blower. Since we discussed going 3D printed route, ladders can be quite heavy, so you need a pretty robust piece.
Okay.
Where if we're just doing some lighter stuff like a weed eater or stuff like that, we can go with something a little simpler. Once we have the core clip, I think that's like half the project. So then we can look up either adding on, then we can look up how to adjust the different hooks for different scenarios. That might be something more beneficial.
Yeah.
Also, we can just kind of design like a generic hook and see how well it works with the ladder and the leaf blowers and stuff
Okay.
like that.
Okay. Yeah. Let's do that. Let's start with the general, and then if we need something more specific, then maybe we'll come back and look at that.
Okay, and there's two different routes we can go. Being that we're still problem solving, I would really highly recommend, really in this scenario, we pretty much need to go with the 3D printed, like designs for 3D printing.
Okay.
The great thing about that is it allows us to rapidly iterate while testing functionality out. Once we decide to design for mass producing or like high volume manufacturing, we have to get very particular about angles and certain dimensions, where we don't really have as many limitations when it comes to 3D printing, and the limitations are a little different, so you have to use a little different angles and things like that.
Okay.
All right. Um, so we're gonna go ahead and jump into it here.
Okay.
Uh, Go ahead and get a profile going for you.
Wow. I never realized how heavy ladders are.
Yeah, they can get up there. Yeah, one thing I like to do is just use things like ChatGPT, and I can just do a quick search on there and ask them for the general specifications for ladders and see what the weight requirements are, as well as dimensionally how far they come out and what the recommended hook sizes are. And that only takes a few minutes if you want to run that, or I can do that after
Yeah,
I get this jump going here.
I can get that going here.
Just getting your file set up over here so we're nice and organized.
I know that we're not starting on the ladders, we're starting with the other stuff. But it said here that that you'd need it to be able to hold 100 pounds if it was a ladder. Um,
Okay.
and the hook width would need to be it says the hook depth would need to be 6 to 10 inches to create all the ladders securely, and the hook width would need to be 2 or 3 inches for to fit most rails. However, we're starting with the lawn equipment and the leaf blower and stuff like that, right?
Yep. Okay, so let's jump back here. Um, yeah, I think we might also, if you want to, I think we can design something that might work with both. 100 pounds is a lot for a 3D printed part, but I kind of like the idea of it. All right,
Well,
so we're
if it was a ladder, if you 3D printed two of them, would that
yep.
share the weight on, like, would we be able to do that?
Um,
That way it shares the weight of instead of on 1 point, it's on 2 points?
yeah, absolutely. I would make sure that it is 100 pounds. Are you saying that the average weight of a ladder is 100 pounds?
No, it says here that 24-foot extension ladder is between 45 and 65 pounds, but if you're going to create it and you want a little bit of safety,
Okay,
it should be rated for at least 75 to 100 pounds.
right. So yes, in that scenario, you're absolutely right. We would just need to worry about running at half that. Um, okay, so we're gonna go here and save this. And we're gonna call this a oh,
I mean, because if we're making this for a ladder, and if we're on the ladder we're using both like two hooks, we recommend two hooks for a ladder. We could recommend one hook just for a leaf
yeah,
blower or whatever.
absolutely. So that's kind of my thought as well. All right. Well, if you could look up, well, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start creating the clip section of this first.
Okay.
And then once you have the clip, the hook will go really quickly. And again, we can always adapt that. So let's get this part down first. I got some calipers here. We're gonna measure the actual wire shelving spans. Some ideas here on what that needs to be. And do you prefer to work in millimeters or inches?
What's the most standard? Like if I was to take this to market, what would people most be looking for?
Well, honestly, I think inches is more standard because we're in the U.S.
Okay.
From a manufacturing standpoint, it doesn't really matter.
What's more accurate then?
But um, let's see. What I'm doing right now is just seeing if these wire shells are in inches or millimeters, and honestly, it doesn't really matter. because they don't really fit either of those. So yeah, we're about an inch apart. I think these are sold in the inches. So let's just stick with inches then.
Okay.
Okay. So right now we have, okay, let's see, it needs to be like 1.32.
So looking at this, if we're doing a ladder, the hook depth needs to be 6 to 10 inches, and the hook size for everything else needs to be 4 to 6 inches to hold it securely. Okay, that's good to know.
So 1.32 about quarter inch. So this is kind of the profile that we want to clip onto here. And then we're gonna just make it look a little bit more like what we want. We just do circles. Profile that we want. Okay. So, and then we have to, let's see, we got to go between these wire hooks. I'm thinking you're probably gonna want to be pretty wide here on the wire hook side. So if we can go between two of these hooks or two of these wire spans, that will be okay.
Are we gonna like if what are these shelves? What are the shelves rated for? The average shelving unit.
You know
Like if
what?
I'm holding a ladder onto that, is that gonna make
They're rated for way more than a ladder, I'll tell you that much.
oh
Let's see.
okay.
We can look that up though. Let's see. Actually, let's just go on Amazon. They sell these. We get the actual products. So if we're looking at this here, this has a capacity at 2,000 pounds.
Oh, okay, so it can hold a ton.
Yeah,
Oh
literally.
yeah, then a ladder or two is not gonna be an issue.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't think so. No, I'm not worried about that. And if you break that down to the weight per shelf, there's the one shelf, right? Yeah, 350 per shelf is what's showing. So as long as we don't exceed 350 per shelf and we're at like 45 pounds, then yeah, we'll be good. That's why these are used in commercial spaces because you can adjust the height. They're very strong, easy to move around. Lots of
Yeah.
ways. There's already lots of adaptions for these. So, anyways, I really like these things. Okay, so um, we're gonna do an offset here. I forget how I want to do this so that it Adjust in the future if I choose to. It's not playing ball over here. Okay, there we go.
Looks like a pair of sunglasses.
So what I'm doing is working out how it's gonna clip on. So what I'm thinking is we'll have um on this side we're gonna have a pretty hefty hook.
Yeah.
So this will be the part out of the profile, but this side down here doesn't need to be as. I just want this to snap on the bottom. We don't need as much retention on the bottom. You gotta want to go just a little over that. So kind of we'll build this little lip on here. Uh, yes. So now we have something that looks like this. Gonna go. Want to go three. What was I saying? So I'm thinking we're gonna start with going between just the two rungs for the first iteration, and if we want to go make it wider, we always.
What would be the advantages of making it wider?
Well, it'll be stronger. That's really it. So, but you just don't want to make things so big that they're unpleasant to work with. Looks like we got about, I'll say 1.4 inches. It gives a little bit of playing around with space. Uh, so 1.4. So you can already see how the hook is. This is just the part that's gonna latch on. You can already see it's kind of coming into shape here. Mhm. And then we're gonna put a gap in here.
Is it going to have some move so that it just kind of presses on, or is there going to be
Well,
like a
what
little?
happens is when you hook this over the bar and then it's gonna swing and then you can pop the bottom in. That's what this ledge is for, so it kind of pops in. Actually, I'm probably gonna change this angle just a little bit more. So you can just make a quick adjustment here. And so you can grab this here and just kind of actually I'm gonna do a different rotate around this. Yeah. Bring that down. Something like that. So probably we don't need this to be sharp, so you can bring this down here. Then that'll be way more functional. And the same thing here. We don't need this to be sharp, so we can just round this side off here. There we go. Now we got something that's looking like a hook. I might come back and change this. I kind of want to have a little relief lever to pull this off, but we might not need it because we're gonna have the hook over here that we can use. So we'll see what that looks like.
No, that would be smart because if you can use the hook to kind of pull it a bit,
Right.
if it can hold that kind of tension. I don't know how
Right.
flexible is 3D printed material.
Um, how flexible is any material? So we can 3D print in multiple materials. Mostly, I mean, it's going to be similar to like a nylon or ABS or something, but we're going to print with an ABS-like material, which is basically the same material that car panels are made of, like plastic car panels.
Okay.
But it does have some flex to it, and it's a lot of it has to do with the way we design it. So,
Okay.
um, yeah, we can design flex into parts. A lot of times we do that, or we can design to be more rigid as well. So what we want to do is what needs to start from here, the split around. So we're gonna do, I think we're gonna leave a little extra space here. We want it to work with different bars, so we're gonna make these also a quarter inch gap. There we go. So see the fit the bar better. I don't really like rounded or squared edges, so I like to keep going back and just round these off.
Why don't you like square edges?
Well, one, I don't think it looks good, and we don't have to do this either if you don't like it, but it also creates a really high stress point on the mold or the parts, so that's where they tend to fracture and tear and break. Whether it's sheet metal or plastic, you get it just tends to be where they're gonna fail. So if you can eliminate it, it doesn't have to be, half rounds everywhere, but I just kind of like it.
No,
Um,
no, that makes
Up
sense.
to
That makes
you
sense.
where you want to put it. We can adjust that. Um, oh, also, I don't like to have any kind of sharp edges because uh, it's just less friendly. So I always kind of like to round things out. So now we got a nice clip here that we can build off of. So we can have this as the clip, or we need this is the clip. Oops. And we can use this for all the different hook sizes that we develop. And then if we want to make it like 3 or 4 wide, we can just modify this to work with that. So we have this hook here. Let's make
How hard is the modification to go 3 or 4 wide? I'm just curious.
um let's try it. It's actually really easy.
You want to save it first, or
Sure. Well, we're not gonna, we can just copy this. We don't really. So we can do.
is it a different color just to differentiate it so that
Oh
you know
yeah,
which one you're
so I
looking at?
just exactly. So I like to use this mode. It's just it makes each part a different color so you can clearly tell if you're on the right part or not.
Okay.
Otherwise, it's easy to it just makes the design process go faster. It's not really necessary. We can change it to any color we want.
Okay.
Um we can paint it. Yeah, we can do anything with the colors, but just from a visual perspective, it keeps things nice and organized to know which part we're on. So I accidentally modify the wrong part. Okay, so I'm just doing a little thinking here for a second. We really just need to move it over 50% of that. So 0.7. Getting that real quick. The body this time. I got a better idea. Stay too long. Split body. Now we've got the two pieces that we need to make the rest of the pieces. So I can just start patterning stuff. Um, So that's going to expand 2 bars instead of one. And then what we can do is put this on the other end. So I gotta turn this off for a second. Like that. You got only 3 sections. And we could keep mirroring this across. So like let's say we want to go bigger. Just turn this off and then
And then that would just make it stronger.
yeah, I mean the wider it is, the bigger it is. I mean the
Okay.
stronger the hook is.
You just copy and paste it, copy, paste, and copy and paste.
Sort of, yeah, it's just a series of or I can make depending upon what the requirement is, yeah, we can just cut
I
this up
mean,
and
I
make it
mean,
bigger.
either like this is making it attachment to the shelving unit really strong, but then there's
Right.
still going to be, we're still going to be restricted to the attachment
Hook.
of the hook.
Well, the hook can be the same size as this too, so we can make the hook the total height. So let's go like if we're gonna make it the only reason I make it this wide is if we are going to just move this. Okay, so this is gonna let me just see what this is here. This is honestly probably more suited for like a ladder.
Yeah, that is more suited for a ladder, I think,
Right,
versus the other one is more suited for the equipment.
right. So let's see here. This is almost 4 inches. Grab a tape measure here.
4 inches is about this long.
Get a visual. Yeah, I think that's going to be a good width for a 3D printed hook.
Yeah, yeah, that'll be good.
Mhm. I want to copy this before we do anything else. Template. Okay. So you're going to go one, two. Yeah, that's a pretty wide. I might be a little overkill. But the other thing you got to think about is we're using 3D printed materials. They're gonna get a little weaker in the warmer temperatures, or really any plastic.
Really?
But
It
it's
gets
gonna be
weaker in the warm temperatures?
well. I mean, we're talking about a hot garage that's over 100 degrees.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
most people don't have AC in their garage. That makes sense.
So just something to kind of think about here is like, yeah, it's not gonna.
And 4 inches is not big. Here, just give me 2 seconds. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Yeah, my shelving unit is like on the range. I could probably put like 12 inches, 13 inches of hooks on there if I really wanted to. So 4 inches is not bad.
What do you mean 13 inches of hooks?
Well, because I just checked out the edge of my shelving unit and the
Oh, you're talking about,
the
yeah.
shelving space that I could clip it onto was
You're
about
talking about the
13
depth of
inches.
the shelves?
Yeah,
Okay.
because I want to hook it on the edge on the end of the shelf. So
Oh, yeah, that worked really good for an A-frame.
yeah,
I think, yeah, let me bring an A-frame ladder in here. I think we can design an A-frame ladder and then like 4 inches is going to be really wide for, I wouldn't recommend it if we're trying to do it for the
leaf
weed
blower.
eater or the, because, these are, that's going to fit in like this. And if you want to hang, vertically, then it's just not
Yeah,
going to happen. Or you could set it up, but yeah, I think having, well, what do you want? Do you want to hang it down or do you want it to hang like this?
I think hanging it down is probably more efficient because I'm trying to make the space. Like if
Right.
like if I wanted to make one on each shelf, which would be really cool, but then it's going to stick out into my garage and I don't want it to in my
Yeah, it's
car.
going to be kind of
So
obnoxious.
it needs to be more of an up and down thing.
Unless you want to hang across the front.
Oh, that's cool. That's an idea.
But you're gonna realize that like if it's gonna take up half, like it's gonna drop down. Like if this is the weed eater for the,
Yeah, and then I can't get on the
yeah,
stuff on the shelves. So
yeah, it's gonna make it hard. I would go
yeah, I
vertical.
think vertical's the way to go.
Also, this one has a little hook here, so you can hook it on. Looks like a screw.
Yeah. Well, out of curiosity, so if we made these hooks, would there be an opportunity where we could actually just put a little screw hole in them so that if we wanted to screw it onto a wall, we could? Or is that a
Yeah, I mean you could. I mean, absolutely, you could do that. What would be the? I mean, there's. I mean,
the reason
yeah.
I'm thinking is I thought it would be interesting to have that dual purpose where I can put it onto a shelving unit, or I could just hammer a nail into the wall and put the hook on the nail so that I could
Yeah, I mean, we could absolutely do that. It's there's probably a ton of hooks that already mount to the wall, like
yeah, probably.
and that's kind of the reason why I would. It's not hard. I mean, all we do is add a few holes to it, and then just put
Yeah.
two holes in it, and it would do exactly what you just asked.
Okay.
But also, it's not optimized for that because the holes wouldn't be able to be on center because the center is cut out for the bars. So maybe on the smaller one we could do that. Or if you wanted to go on the sheetrock, but ideally I would want to put it on a stud
Yeah.
and then you'd want to put it right on center.
Yeah,
So
and that's
you
kind
can
of
we can make a modification where it works.
it's not important. That's really a secondary function. I want it to be
Right.
on the shelving unit. That's the real core function. I just wanted to kind of throw that idea out there to see your
I'm gonna
thoughts.
go, I got a pretty standardized A-frame ladder I'm gonna go grab and
Okay.
just see if, what it would take to make this version work for just a single A-frame ladder.
Okay.
For the sake of size, I have a mini step stool, but it's the same width and side steps as the larger one. So, we'll just start with this here. Find my tape measure. So from the wall, this thing comes out, it's roughly 6 inches. Steps are 3 inches. Go the other way. You can go up 3.5 inches. This top is 5 inches. Just thinking for a second. Uh, that's a lot of meat for one of these. I think we can do it. If we want it to be. So I was thinking the ladder hook would support a ladder going this way. Is that your thought, or do you want your ladders to stand up like this?
Sorry, I had myself muted for a second. I think it was more standing up vertically, is what I was thinking.
Okay, for even your extension ladder, because it's probably not going to fit in your garage unless you have quite a interesting garage, very
Yeah, but if
tall.
I have it going sideways, it's gonna cover a whole shelf.
Right.
What I'm hoping to
How
do,
how tall is your extension ladder when it's folded up?
so I'm 6 feet tall on the dot, probably 7, 8 feet. I think it's 8 feet
Oh, okay. Do you have at least a 9 foot ceiling?
in the garage. Yes.
Okay. So yeah. The other thing is if it's 8 feet tall, then you have to hang it at least 5 feet from the ground. And that's like kind of really close because you want to be above the center of mass or center of gravity on the ladder so that it doesn't want to fall
Yeah,
off.
but if I'm
You probably need
hanging,
to hang it around 6 feet.
yeah, okay. I think then maybe the best option is to have it sideways, like you were suggesting. Then.
Yeah, because I mean you got rungs all the way up, so you can hang it 6 feet and still have it sit a foot off the ground or a few inches off the
Yeah,
ground
I just don't want it to be closing off that whole shelf
from
of
the
stuff.
side. Are you still trying to put this on the side of the shelf, or are you trying to put this on the front of the shelf?
So there's the narrow end and the long end, right?
Mhm. Right,
I was thinking of putting it on the narrow end
right.
so that I could fill the rest of the stuff and just have that on the side just in
Do you
case.
have your shelves on wheels?
No, no, I do not.
Okay,
Sorry, it took me a
so
sec. It took me a second. I had to check.
okay. I mean, if you don't have them on wheels, it probably is going to become cumbersome to take it on and off. Like if it's between two different shelf racks, it's going to be like really, you're talking about 40 pounds that you have to kind of squeeze in there and shuffle around. It's going to be not that friendly. Where if you're using it on racks with shelves, you can pull the whole rack out, grab the ladder off
And
of
then I
it.
could put it on the back, roll the
Yeah,
shelf
well, yeah, you
out,
can put it out on the back too, but yeah, you could even go as far as putting on. That actually is an interesting idea.
where I
You
put
want
it on
to
the
do
back, and
that?
then I roll it out, and I've got all of this shelving on the back of the because it's on wheels. That would be an idea.
Yeah, do you have? Yeah, you could do that. You want to go for that route?
Yeah, let's go for that route. I don't know what the difference that would be from that to the front, but at least then we've got it hidden away and stored properly.
Yeah, I actually really like that idea. I'm trying to find a problem with it, and I don't see many. The only issue that I see would be like when you go to pull the shelf out, you have to always make sure there's enough room. Like you couldn't park a car in front of you. You have to always make sure there's like enough room to pull the shelf, not just past the other shelves, but enough to pull it out and then walk behind it, grab the ladder, move the
Yeah.
ladder out.
Yeah, that's the only
So
the space option, but even then, I just pull my car out 6 feet and I've got the maneuverability to
right, and once
move
yeah,
around.
if you're like always parking your car in there, you pull the car out and you have plenty of room in the garage to move these out,
Yeah,
put your ladders in there. I think it's a pretty cool idea, honestly. I think I might have to put my racks on. I have some of them on casters and some of them are not.
yeah.
So
I might have to, because as long as there's
you can
locks on the
get
wheels,
casters for like a set of four, I think for around 25 or 30 bucks.
oh, that's nothing.
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
easy.
depending upon, we can even find them on Amazon pretty fast. They make them specifically for these units.
Yeah.
That's why I like these shelves so much because there's so many things you can do with it. It's just a good
Yeah,
platform.
and it can hold like it's 20, like we said it was a ton. It can hold just a ton, ton and a quarter
Yeah, I mean, I
almost.
would test, I would pay attention to, so there's a ton of different manufacturers that make these and they all have little different requirements, but they're all pretty stout. Like,
Yeah.
I bought some off of Amazon. I bought some from like a warehouse, and the ones I bought from a warehouse are way more stout than the ones I got off of Amazon.
Yeah.
They're both really strong and, well, I don't have any real issues with them.
Yeah.
But you can tell that they're not as strong as, the other. It's not like there's a standard of like they're all made from the same material.
Yeah.
All right, so that being said, let me make sure that it's gonna fit between these rungs too. Oh wait, we don't really need to worry about that. Yeah, so okay. So the biggest dimension, so probably need to worry mostly about these middle rungs. Actually, I am gonna go pull the other one out because I want to see something real quick. I'll be right back.
Okay.
It's not gonna end up in the camera view, but I have a 6 foot wooden A-frame ladder, probably the most common ladder ever made.
Yeah. Yep.
And it just so happens that we both have the same type of ladder. This is the same type of ladder you have, right? This like A-frame.
Yeah, it's an A-frame. It's not wooden, mine's metal, but it's the same as the A-frame as the wooden one.
Yeah, that's probably the second most common ladder ever made.
Probably, yeah. The third would be the extension I probably have in my garage.
Yeah, those are super common. Okay, so that being said, we'll go back to our thing here. Okay, so we need to create a profile to work off of. I'm gonna actually delete. this feature. Oh, it didn't work.
Thank God for Control Z.
Yeah, let's just kind of give it a shot here. I don't want this rounded edge at the moment. It's gonna get in the way of the design. So we'll just take this off for the clip part of it, or not. Okay, that's fine. We'll do it the hard way. The hard way's not very hard. There you go. Okay, now we got some flat surfaces to work with. This makes everything go a little easier. We don't really need these on here anymore. Okay, so I want to make a hook. The hook's gonna extend this full length. of this, and we want to go out a little bit, a little ways here. So if we're going for this, it only needs to come out 3 inches, but if you want it to be put it on either way, we need like five inches. The total width of these about. Let's see if we can do a 5 inch. Big. See what 5 inches looks like.
When I was looking at ChatGPT, it suggested 6 inches.
Okay, we can go 6 inches. And I'll try 6 inches this way. And then, hmm. Getting a little thinking here going. Thinking dots.
That's really long for such a short hook.
That's what I'm thinking. You could go as little as 3 inches and it would work for most ladders.
A little as 3 inches would probably work for most things, all in general. So 1 second
Right.
here.
But
When I was looking at leaf blowers and stuff like that, they said depth should be between 4 and 6 inches to hold it securely.
I kind of want to give this a shot.
All right, well, let's do it. Let's see what happens.
So what I'm, we want to be as wide as possible here. So this is gonna flex like crazy because it doesn't have much to go off of here. We'll bring this up to here. That'll give us a little bit more. Oops. Oh, come on. I just get the extendment. Okay, we got a little extra. Change this up here. This 6 inches this way is not really that relevant. It's gonna go away. Just giving me an idea. So the strongest would be to come down 6 inches this way, but it has nothing to press against. It doesn't really do a whole lot for us. Unless but we don't really want to add another shelf down here. I think it'd be kind of
I
weird.
I don't think for this, I think that would be really, really cool for the ladders. I'm not sure we want to do that for the leaf blowers and all that stuff. So let's start with
So
the leaf
this is,
blowers and
well, I'm building this off the ladder right now. So it's okay. We'll just, doesn't need to be as wide on this end. It's not gonna give us a whole lot of help. So we can just kind of use that a little bit. I'll just get some angles to help us out. Sturdier.
hey, here's an idea.
What's that?
Would it be more stable if instead of being hooked, I don't know how to show you this, instead of being hooked like this, it was hooked wider?
Well, there's nothing really to hook on to. I
Okay.
mean, we could make these go like I thought about something like that. I don't think it's gonna make a ton of difference because the where you need support is out here, and it would be tough to carry a lattice through this direction. So what I'm thinking is to optimize strength is we'll use some kind of lattice system, like you would see in like a truss in a house,
Yeah.
and I kind of hope and pray that's gonna be enough for what we're trying to do. So we're gonna come off of, let's do like maybe off of here. Just kind of laying this out right now. Let's see what angles we like here. I'll do 120.
What angles worth the most weight?
45 degrees. Well, in this scenario, it's different.
Okay.
I think it's not supported on the bottom, so something around this. I don't know. Probably. If you want, you can look that up in ChatGPT while I'm doing this.
Yeah.
Look up specifically what is the ideal triangle for a truss that's supported on one side. Or I can
What is the
check
ideal triangle for a truss?
angle. Uh, yeah, for a truss that's supported on one side. It's on, yeah, that should be pretty sufficient.
Yep. So it says 10 to 30 degrees is common. The rise
Okay.
run is 212 to 712 pitch. Um,
What was the thing you said before that?
so for pure truss efficiency, 45 degrees are ideal.
Right.
But for roofing and exterior, oh yeah, so 45 degrees are ideal.
And what did it say
Is
the range is?
oh sorry, like the rise run of it.
Mhm.
It says translates to a 212 to 712 pitch.
212. Okay. Mhm. I was thinking as long as we stay within 60 degrees, we're gonna be good here.
Yeah.
Actually, let's see what 45 degrees looks like. Go there. Hmm. Gives me an idea.
Mm.
I think we should add a hook on the end here too. So let's send that up.
That would be good because if you add the hook, then you can actually put a ladder on there and something else if or
Well, more
something else.
just so it doesn't the wire doesn't fall off. Like just like kind of like retention, like a feature. We could do that too. I mean, the more that this sticks out, the further your whole shells are gonna stick out too. So it's not necessarily like more is better. It's gotta be the right amount. So you gotta remember, like you're gonna push the whole shelving unit out 6 inches now. Which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but just kind of keep that in mind. Mhm. Something like that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So how long would something like this take to print? 3D print?
Mm, I don't know. Less than a day. more than an hour.
Okay. So what looking at this, the one thing I can see is that when someone puts a hook, when they're putting it on, they're gonna reef on this end
Right.
um to kind of check that.
What are you getting at?
I just is it gonna be able like it'll be able to hold that kind of pressure?
Well, if you're gonna hold the ladder, then I think it'll be okay.
Okay.
I'm actually most worried about this portion here.
That's what that's more of what I'm talking about. Like this portion looks really sturdy, but
Yeah, let's see what we can do about that. Yeah, let's see what we can do about that. Hmm.
do you have the Bamboo Lab 3D printer? Is that what you've got?
Yeah,
Okay.
why do you ask?
Well, I'm just contemplating. I'm looking at the costs to in order to get something like that to start doing my own production of these.
Yeah, that could work. You could also start with the A1. It's a lot cheaper. You could print a couple, maybe one or two at a time, but they're significantly less in cost to get going. Maybe a third the price. Same company, same ability. The only thing is it depends upon the material, so they're not going to reprint this in the stronger materials.
Which one do you have? Are you using the A1 or
I do not use an A1, but I've heard really good things about them.
which one do you use?
The X1 carbon, they just released an H2 or H2 something. It's like the predecessor. So you got a little bigger build volume, prints a little faster.
Oh, you've got the colors on the that one.
Yeah. We- We're currently running two of the X1 carbons. Be
Okay.
perfect for needs.
Oh my goodness, it's $2,400 for the HD H2D.
Yeah. If you're running production, it's better to have more than one because they go down, and it just depends on how tight you have to make things happen, but they do go down periodically, so you have to be willing to fix them. It's not the end of the world difficult, but you definitely have to be aware that that's part of it. There's also a lot of low-cost print farms that you can go to if you don't want to be involved.
Yeah, my only thing is I'm trying to keep costs down and having the ability to print on demand is more what I'm looking at.
I think that's going to be, the cheapest way to jump into it, especially if you get those A1s.
Yeah,
You buy three or four of them for the same price, you know, and then if you do something like that, it's hard to, I mean, if you go build the tooling for this, you're going to spend way more than you might
yeah.
spend 5 grand on it to make one clip. to only for one clip, or it could be more than that. It's
Yeah.
hard to say exactly, but
But the beauty of having like my own printer is that I'll have the ability to, like, if someone orders it, I can print it, send it out in a day. The problem is if I have 100
absolutely.
people order it.
Yeah, I mean, exactly.
Well, I'll look at this. Maybe I'll we'll have to do some testing on this to make sure that even though this is printed, that
Right,
it's gonna perform the way we want it to.
right. I definitely recommend that. It takes longer to turn things back than to add the features, but that's okay. There you go. All right. There we go. See if we can just that looks louder.
That's a lot thicker.
Yeah, just double the thickness.
Yeah, that's probably gonna be a lot more sturdy, a lot less hard, a lot less easy to break.
Yeah.
So that's 6 inches wide and what, 4 inches, 2 inches high?
It's let's find out. So we're going from yeah, I guess we're going from yeah, flat part to the you're looking about yeah, a little less than 2 inches, right around
Oh,
that 2 inch mark.
little less than 2 inches. Okay.
Yeah, we're right around 2 inches. Very close. I don't know. It depends
Okay.
how many you measure it at. It's kind of the deciding factor there. Well, yeah, something like that I think has a real shot holding a ladder.
Yeah, I think that has a really good shot at holding the ladder.
Yeah. I mean, we could fill these triangles in, but it's not going to really increase the strength. It's just going to decrease your print time. That's why I did that. So,
Sorry, filling in the triangles will increase the strength or
why marginally,
oh, yeah.
but there's a big trade-off there. So you gain a little bit of strength. And when we're talking about 3D printing, it doesn't even really make a difference, honestly. Because you mostly don't print with 100% infill. So they
Yeah.
actually print, typically we run like 15%. You can go a little higher, but it's so something like this would probably be um, a good place to start. We can go and 3D print these, see how they fit and how they hold up to the temperatures and things of that nature, and how they, use them
Yeah.
for a couple of weeks in the middle of summer and see if we still like them. Or, I think it'll be okay here. I like to do pretty extensive testing, but it's not
Yeah.
really required.
Yeah, but I think for me it'll be a start. And then we could take a look. I just like the idea of making products made to order,
Right.
and then we can, yeah, we can go from there.
Yeah, I don't think we need to go a stout on the bottom. Actually, I don't want the bottom to be too stout because I want it to have the ability to flex,
Yeah,
lock in. So we might actually change it up a little more. You could actually go. and it doesn't even, it could just rest on the bottom side, but I really want it to kind of snap in. So you take the ladder off, they don't fall off so easily.
Yeah. Okay.
But you don't really technically need that for it to stay on. And I'm gonna round. Do you like these full roundovers here?
Yeah, I do like the full roundovers because I don't want things to snag on them.
Yeah. So
If it's a roundover, we might want to make the lip a little bit bigger though.
do you think do you want to make this taller?
Just a wee bit taller, but not a lot.
Okay, that's a wee bit. I did not learn that measurement.
Don't worry. It's a standard Canadian measurement.
Okay, does that look like a wee bit to you,
Yeah,
or
that looks like a wee bit.
okay,
But the
good.
idea is I just don't want it. I don't want the lattice skipping over the edge.
Right, right, yeah. Okay. I've not met a skipping ladder yet, but we wouldn't want that to happen. Sounds terrible.
Yeah.
I want this to be a nice rounded corner because I don't want to get stabbed.
Oh, hitting their head on it would be the worst.
Yeah, like that kind of thing.
I mean, it'll hit the ladder before it hits them, but
Gotta kind of come in here and well, you don't know that there's always gonna be a ladder on there. It's gonna be a time and a place where there's not a ladder, it's just a thing sticking out.
yeah.
So that's the scenario I'm thinking about here. There we go. Kind of add that material back in on that side. Something like that's a pretty good
Yeah.
start.
I think that's a good start. Do you think that's good enough to print and test?
Absolutely. Yeah, I probably change a little thing here or there like we did before. Go back and just put a nice round curve on the outside here as well. Or not. Let's see if it wants to play ball. Oh yeah. Okay.
It's now kind of right around it there. Is that what you just did?
Yeah, I was kind of rounding it off. This part's more just for looks than anything else. Not really a right or wrong. Kind of like a finishing touch, I guess.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't need to be in here. We can change it if you want. I just think it looks a lot cleaner. Not.
Oh, it does. It does. I like it.
Nice. Yeah, I might as well just finish off the inside here and
Yeah.
round these out too. There we go. I like it.
It looks good.
It does. It does look good. Ugh. Okay, so now let's do a smaller version of this.
Yeah,
Hmm. So we have this clip set off to the side here. Actually, I think I like this heavier duty approach. I think we'll just
make it smaller.
yeah, I think we're gonna stick with that. It's up to you. What do you want to start with? You want to start with the smaller or the more heavy duty kind of? It's
Well,
only
just
coming in half an inch. It's half an inch thick, which is hefty, but not so hefty that like I don't think it's too much personally. I'm gonna create a new component.
yeah.
Try, we'll call this clip the lawn hook. Like it. That's free of charge. I'll charge extra for the marketing.
Oh, thank you.
Let's see here. Start with this. Start with that. Now, where's our blue clip? Let me turn that up. The question now is how wide does this one need to be? And now that you have this design, it's actually, I'm thinking do you have any products specifically you're trying to hang?
Um, like just like a leaf blower, like a weed whacker. That's really what I'm looking for.
I'm almost thinking we could keep them all at that. So let's just take this for example. This is my leaf blower here.
Yeah,
Okay. So we can have it hang on here like where it comes straight out.
yeah.
Or you can have it kind of lean in so that the hook can be as small as possible. But if we want to have it come straight out, we're still need to come out like probably that 4 or 5 inch like you're talking about before, so you'd want to come out, yeah, probably closer to that 5.5. And this, I don't know if there's a weed whacker, that you want to look at or
Um,
um but I feel like this one's pretty wide, so if it fits on here.
but if the idea is I want it to fit on a wider one, because if it fits on a wider one, the narrow one won't be an issue, will it?
Just remember that I mean, we can make it as wide or as long as you want. That's not the issue, but we're still talking about that 6 inches.
Yeah.
It's gonna take up that space. So, like, if we're putting this behind, and maybe these are not going behind, but if they are going behind the shelves, and if we already have the ladder back there, it doesn't really matter because we already have the 6 inch space. But if we are saying that maybe we're gonna put these off to the side, then you just don't want to over design it to the point where it gets so bulky.
Yeah, but my thing is that we have to have that's like it has to fit the
Let's try this. This is already at, what do we say, 6
yeah.
value? All right, so let me just see here. Take a measurement here. I think it's 6. Okay, yeah, 6 and a 6 and an 1/8. So we just take this. We can modify this if you want. We can just bring this over to this length here.
Yeah, I actually don't mind that at all. Like just that smaller
That,
one. I think that smaller
yeah,
one is
so that
perfect.
will fit between. That's like 1.4 inches, which would should easily fit. Yeah. So that will, fit in the handle. And we can actually even design this to be a little bit more friendly for this kind of thing. So let me just see. Yeah, I think this is a pretty, we can do something like that pretty quick. And if you want to bring this in more, we can. It's not a big deal either. We can chop
Yeah.
the end off and or reconfigure this, but I think it's a really good starting point for. Also, if you're putting the equipment on the end of it, you're really not. I don't think we're gonna stick out the other end, so I don't think it's gonna hurt having more either. Now I think
Yeah.
about it. So let's just do this. Now we just need to find the right sketch here. I think on this one we got this sketch. There it is. Let me take this sketch. Side this way. Side this.
If you were using this, how much weight would you be comfortable putting on it?
I would test it.
You would test it.
Yeah, I don't pretend to have these numbers in my head. And also depends like I could take the same two designs, print it two different ways, and get two different load ratings. So there's a lot that goes into this. If I have it in a hot garage or a cold garage, that's going to affect things as well. So it's
So when
looking,
I'm testing it, I want to look for the weakest possible option and then go from there. And then
yeah,
rate it for that.
exactly. Make sure it fits,
Yeah.
fixing that kind of thing. So again, I'll just put one of these in here. 0.25. And I'm gonna do something a little crazy. I don't know if it's gonna work. Let's see how crazy we can get. Oh, that's not looking. But let me see if we can. So I turn off. Let's see if we can just round this out.
Oh,
There we go.
yeah, that's actually because it's going to go over handles, right? So that makes sense.
Right. So hands can kind of fit over a little better. You like that?
I do. I like that a lot. We might want to put the hook at the end. Might want to make that same adjustment on the hook.
Well,
No?
we could. But this is I mean, it'd be more of a visual thing. Yeah, but it's just you don't want it to come off of here, so
No, you don't.
yeah, we can do that. That's not a problem. See what that would look like. I think something like that.
Yeah.
Well, let me just kind of fix this up here for you.
Um,
Hmm. Something more along those lines.
Yeah,
We can round it out again.
it almost looks like a train.
Huh. I like it. I like it.
Yeah,
I want to put a little something something here. I don't like to get just see the fatigue. Let's see. Turn the chain thing back on. Then let's see what happens. Points. See if we can get it a little cleaner. Actually, I guess that's fine. What do we feel about that?
I like it.
Okay,
A little
keep
bit of a
going.
different design, but it works.
Yeah. Well, that's the idea, right? You can use what we have, and one, it keeps kind of a theme, so if people, it almost creates like a branding effect. Also makes it
So
easier
when
to.
this prints, is it going to print pink?
No, we can print any color we want.
Okay. No, I'm just checking
Yeah.
because kind of the black and red, like the black with maybe like a
Yeah, I mean,
red logo on the
so
bottom is more of what I'm thinking.
it's just the reason I would color code it so that I can visually see when I switch between parts and I don't edit the wrong part.
Yeah.
Right now we're just working on one part at a time, but a lot of times we're working on multiple parts together, and it really helps with clarity and organization of files and stuff. But
Yeah.
this is kind of the default view, and we can see, I mean, we can do like something like this, kind of what it will look like when it's printed.
Yeah.
Or if you want to go black, we can do something like this.
That
Uh,
would look nice with like a red logo on the bottom or something like that.
yeah, we could do that. You could even engrave your letters right here on the side if you didn't want to do this structure.
Yeah.
Kind of fun. Or you could put it right here on the bottom.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe like a QR code on the bottom, and maybe the M and maybe my logo, or a logo on the trellis,
Yeah, absolutely.
or maybe something like it doesn't need to. It's just that's just what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I like it. So we have this, and we have this clip here. Let's see where we're at on. So that brings us right to our, about the 2.5 hour mark. Is there anything
Yeah.
else that you wanted to um, see completed today?
No. Just hearing you earlier, we can put a vector file on the bottom of it so that they can, and when they print it, so that I could give this away and they would still be printing my logo on it, right?
Yeah, if you can get your logo in a vector file, then we can just import it and cut it, etch it into there
Okay,
quickly.
perfect.
Um, yeah, I could show you with my file, with my logo if you want to see what that would look like.
Yeah, yeah, please and thank you.
I might have to shrink it down for that version, but
Yeah.
on the Y one, what do you think on the size or position you want centered
No, I want it more on the left side.
like this?
Yeah, a little
Let
more
me
to the
turn
right.
off this one.
Oh, yeah. Okay. And then what we'll try and do is we'll put the QR code beside it and then have it centered side by side.
Okay,
And I say
so
I sent you the QR code, it's in your email.
okay. Um, So you want to do the MPD or the MPD with the my product developer underneath it?
Let's just put MPD there for now.
Maybe like that or right there.
Yeah, like right there.
Okay. And-
Does it say my product developer? Is it?
Well, it's just all in one file.
Oh,
Just
okay.
separate it out. I can just turn that off.
Yeah.
Let me see what we got in the vector files. That's the problem. There it goes. Came in. All right. The moment of truth. Dun dun dun. I can get it. All right. I guess we're gonna have to insert the XF. Download. Mhm. Mhm. Uh-oh. Ball. Let me try something else real quick. Hmm. Yeah, there's no information in here. It's a file. It's the right format, but there's no data. No data. Do you want to email me the source file or what you made the DXF from? I'll see what I can do. I'm just gonna etch this in here. I think that's a little cleaner. Wishing me to make it pop out. We can do that too. That's pretty cool.
I sent it to you. Did you get it?
Let me take a look. Looks like I did. All right.
I think that
So,
looks amazing.
yeah, we can send you out this the CAD file for this and the CAD file for the other one as well. Um, yeah.
Okay, perfect.
And then let me we'll also we'll send you a 3D link so you can view it from your computer without any special software. Is
Okay.
yeah, so you can just jump on there and see what it looks like. I'll show you what that link looks like real fast, actually.
Okay.
Uh, there it is. You can just drop this link in there. This goes out in the email, and then
Okay.
this allows you to view it in 3D. Takes sometimes a few seconds to load the first time. I'm excited to see how this works.
Do you know what? I'm excited too because I think there's an opportunity here for made to order little designs like this.
Hmm.
I think there's an opportunity for that. And so if we can,
Storage is always kind of a big thing, especially as home prices go up and people are doing more with less, you know.
yeah. And so yeah, so that's what I'm thinking is like if people come in and they're like, "Hey, I need a few clips," and they can buy it and I can print them like if they buy like 4 or 5 clips, I can print them and send it to them because I could
Hmm.
probably put it in a box and ship it for like $5, seven
Yeah,
bucks,
I mean,
depending
the
on
other
where they
thing you
are.
can do
So
is print like a couple hundred or a couple thousand of them, and you know, the smaller ones are going to print way faster, like maybe 45 minutes a clip or something. So
yeah,
then you could print, and that's per printer. So if you have 3 or 4 printers running, you could print a couple thousand of them and then send them off to Amazon and sell them on Amazon. And then you got things like Amazon FBA, they can fulfill all the orders, handle all the returns, you know, and you
yeah.
just give them a piece of each sale and they pretty much take care of the rest. Yeah, this is taking a while to generate. I'll show you another one so you can see how it's going to work. And then the
Okay.
only reason it's taking so long is because that QR code's in there.
The QR code destroys everything.
It is kind of, yeah. It's not having that.
Yeah.
Is it? Oh, shit. So, let's see here. We can pull this out of here. So, like, you'll see this whole airplane is going to be less taxing probably than that QR code.
Yeah.
Actually, this isn't really the easiest one either.
You know what? Just send me the link later. I'll open it up. Um, and we'll go from there, okay?
Yeah, okay.
All right. I think that's
All
everything.
right.
Thank you so
Sounds
much.
good. Appreciate it.
See ya.